Nicki Minaj's unexpected praise for Donald Trump sparks backlash and debate over faith, freedom, and celebrity politics. In an era when even the slightest political statement can ignite a social media firestorm, few celebrities can make headlines as explosively as Nicki Minaj. The hip-hop superstar, known for her fearless personality, outspoken lyrics, and passionate fan base, has once again found herself at the center of controversy. This time, it wasn't a new song or fashion statement that set the internet ablaze, but rather a heartfelt message directed toward former President Donald Trump. Earlier this week, Minaj praised Trump for a statement he made about religious persecution in Nigeria, specifically the violence against Christians. What began as a seemingly simple message of faith and compassion quickly evolved into a heated debate about politics, religion, and the responsibilities of celebrities in a divided America. Trump's statement on Nigeria and religious persecution. The catalyst for the uproar was a message shared by Donald Trump addressing what he described as an existential threat to Christianity in Nigeria. In his statement, the former president declared that radical Islamist groups were responsible for the mass slaughter of Christians, and that the U.S. cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening. Trump's post read in part, "Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. But that is the least of it. When Christians or any such group are slaughtered like is happening in Nigeria, something must be done." He went on to urge lawmakers, including Congressman Riley Moore and House Appropriations Chairman Tom Cole, to investigate the crisis and report back to him. His statement concluded with a promise that the United States stands ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. The message was consistent with Trump's long-standing appeal to Christian voters, who formed a major part of his political base. His framing of the issue, emphasizing the suffering of Christians while linking it to Islamic extremism, resonated with many conservatives but drew criticism from others who accused him of oversimplifying a complex geopolitical and religious conflict. Nicki Minaj's emotional response. Among those who took notice of Trump's words was Nicki Minaj, one of the most influential and recognizable artists in modern music. Known for her commanding presence and loyal fan base, Minaj has never been one to shy away from sharing her opinions online. Yet her latest post struck a surprisingly earnest and spiritual tone. Taking to social media, Minaj wrote, "Reading this made me feel a deep sense of gratitude. We live in a country where we can freely worship God. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion. We don't have to share the same beliefs in order to respect each other. Numerous countries around the world are being affected by this horror, and it's dangerous to pretend we don't notice. Thank you to the president and his team for taking this seriously. God bless every persecuted Christian. Let's remember to lift them up in prayer." Her message, heartfelt and focused on religious freedom, went viral almost instantly. Within hours, it garnered more than 140,000 likes and tens of thousands of shares across social platforms. For many, Minaj's words were a refreshing expression of empathy and faith from an artist often associated with glitz, confidence, and controversy rather than spirituality. But for others, her post represented something more controversial: perceived support for Donald Trump. The backlash, disappointed fans and divided reactions. Predictably, social media erupted. While some fans applauded Minaj for using her platform to highlight global religious persecution, others accused her of aligning with a political figure they view as divisive and harmful. The reactions ranged from reasoned disappointment to outright hostility. One user wrote, "Millions of families can't feed their children because of this government shutdown, and Nicki Minaj is out here praising Donald Trump. What a weird move." Another took a harsher tone. "I hope the next line you sniff takes you out." The comment, which many condemned as abusive, reflected the toxic extremes of online discourse. For some fans, the conflict was personal. One Muslim supporter posted, "The concept of me, a Muslim, having a favorite artist who is now thanking Trump for spreading anti-Muslim rhetoric, this hurts." Others called the post crazy and a betrayal, arguing that Trump's record on racial and religious issues makes him unworthy of any public praise. Another viral comment summed up a common sentiment: A huge celebrity like Nicki publicly thanking Trump just normalizes this disgusting administration. Yet amid the storm, thousands of others expressed admiration and support for Minaj. Many praised her courage for speaking out about a global issue that often goes ignored. "This is what being real looks like," one user wrote. "Nicki's not afraid to speak up for what she believes, even if it's unpopular." Others echoed that she was standing up for human rights and religious liberty, not necessarily for Trump himself. Faith, freedom, and the politics of celebrity speech. What makes this episode especially significant is how it highlights the impossible position many artists find themselves in today. In the hyper-connected, hyper-political environment of modern pop culture, even a well-intentioned message about human rights can be instantly politicized. For Minaj, the backlash illustrates how public perception can hinge not on what a celebrity says, but who they appear to align with. While her message centered on religious freedom and compassion, the fact that it included praise for Donald Trump made it radioactive for some fans. The broader question, then, is whether celebrities can ever discuss moral or global issues without being accused of partisanship. For decades, artists have played a role in shaping social dialogue. Bob Dylan, Nina Simone, Bruce Springsteen, Beyoncé, and countless others have spoken out on political and humanitarian issues. But in today's fractured media landscape, every word is filtered through a partisan lens. In the case of Minaj, her statement on faith was interpreted less as a moral position and more as a political one. The reaction wasn't just about what she said, it was about what people thought it meant. A pattern of celebrity backlash, Nicki Minaj's experience isn't unique. In recent years, a growing number of artists have faced similar criticism simply for appearing to support Trump or even for refusing to denounce him. Country music star Carrie Underwood faced calls for boycotts after performing the national anthem at Trump's 2017 inauguration, even though her appearance was apolitical. Fellow country artist Jason Aldean and his wife Brittany have endured backlash for their outspoken conservative stances. Rock musician Kid Rock has long been a lightning rod for controversy over his vocal support for Trump and criticism of liberal politics. The message is clear. In a polarized cultural climate, neutrality is nearly impossible. Any gesture that can be interpreted as support for a political figure instantly divides audiences along ideological lines. For artists, this presents a difficult choice: speak their truth and risk alienating fans, or stay silent and risk accusations of complacency. For Nicki Minaj, who has built her career on authenticity and boldness, silence was never an option. Religious persecution in Nigeria. The issue behind the controversy lost. Amid the online outrage is the issue that sparked it all: the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. For years, human rights organizations have documented brutal attacks by extremist groups such as Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa Province (ISWAP). Thousands of Christians, as well as Muslims and people of other faiths, have been killed or displaced in the violence. The Nigerian government has struggled to contain these insurgencies, and the international community has been slow to respond. Advocacy groups like Open Doors and Amnesty International have repeatedly called for stronger global attention to the crisis. In that sense, Minaj's message wasn't just a political statement, it was also a humanitarian one. By amplifying Trump's comments, she brought renewed attention to a real and urgent issue, even if the delivery came with unintended controversy. Her words, "No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion," resonate with a universal truth. Religious freedom is one of the cornerstones of human rights, and it's an issue that transcends party politics. Yet, in today's environment, even messages of unity can be polarizing. The challenge of being unapologetically yourself, Nicki Minaj, has never been a stranger to controversy. From feuds within the music industry to her unfiltered social media presence, she's made a career out of defying expectations. Her fan base, known as the Barbs, has long admired her for her confidence and authenticity. That same fearlessness, however, often puts her at odds with cultural expectations. In an entertainment industry that increasingly pressures celebrities to align with certain political or social movements, Minaj's decision to speak freely, even when it risks backlash, demonstrates her trademark independence. In her 2021 vaccine commentary, for example, she questioned public health narratives and faced widespread criticism. Yet even then, she refused to back down. arguing that people should be allowed to ask questions without being labeled or attacked. The current controversy feels like a continuation of that theme. An artist asserting her right to speak her mind in a world that demands conformity. The broader meaning, courage or carelessness. Whether one views Minaj's post as courageous or careless depends largely on perspective. Her supporters see a celebrity standing up for faith and compassion, reminding people not to take freedom of worship for granted. Her critics see a dangerous normalization of a political figure whose words and policies they find divisive or harmful. Both perspectives contain truth. Minaj's post can be both sincere and problematic, both well-intentioned and tone-deaf, depending on one's worldview. But perhaps the most important takeaway is that her message reignited a conversation about how faith and politics intersect in public life, and how difficult it is for anyone, celebrity or not, to navigate that terrain without offending someone. A culture addicted to outrage. The speed and intensity of the backlash also reveal a deeper cultural pattern. Social media has turned political disagreement into performance, where outrage often overshadows nuance. Instead of asking what Minaj meant, many online critics assumed the worst and attacked accordingly. This is the paradox of the digital age. Platforms that allow for open expression have also made open-minded dialogue nearly impossible. In the rush to react, empathy and understanding often fall by the wayside. Minaj's post, for all its controversy, may serve as a mirror reflecting that dynamic. Her words weren't radical, they expressed gratitude, faith, and compassion, but because they intersected with a polarizing political figure, they became combustible. Where it leaves Nicki Minaj and the rest of us, for now, Minaj has not deleted her post or issued a clarification. Whether she will double down, explain further, or simply move on remains to be seen. What's clear is that she has once again sparked a national conversation, one that extends far beyond celebrity culture. Her statement invites reflection on bigger questions. Can public figures talk about faith without being accused of political bias? Can Americans of different beliefs find common ground on moral issues without turning every discussion into a partisan battle? And perhaps most importantly, can we learn to separate the message from the messenger? Conclusion: the cost of conviction in a divided America. Nicki Minaj's praise of Donald Trump's comments on Nigeria wasn't a campaign speech or a political endorsement. It was, at least on its surface, a message of gratitude for standing up against religious persecution. Yet in a time when every public statement is filtered through ideological lines, even a prayer for persecuted Christians can ignite controversy. Her words have reignited a timeless debate about freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the fragile balance between personal conviction and public expectation. Whether one applauds her or condemns her, the episode underscores a truth about modern celebrity. Authenticity is risky, and neutrality is nearly impossible. In the end, perhaps Minaj's message will be remembered less for the outrage it caused and more for the question it posed, whether compassion and faith can still be expressed without fear in a world that thrives on division. And if there's one thing certain about Nicki Minaj, it's this: love her or hate her, she will never stop speaking her mind.